Well, we're at a critical segment in the Audi job, so supervisors come to make sure I've got this correct. So with the engine in time, should have that chain mark, or this chain link lined up with that dot. That chain link lined up with that dot on the bouncer shaft. And this bottom one should line up with the arrow, which it does. So then I've got the main timing chain on. That link with that mark, that link with that mark. And then this one on the bottom is with the arrow. I don't know why the arrow doesn't split the link, but I looked online and the manufacturer showed it like this, with the arrow pointing to the left-hand side of the link. So that's the way I've got it. Hopefully it's right. There's apparently multiple different versions of these poly rails, so you gotta be sure you got the right stuff for whatever engine you're working on. Is it correct, Bailey? Does it look good? I think he's gonna wag off on it. So, next thing I'm gonna do is put my sealer. I'm gonna use anaerobic gasket maker on the top half of this head and get that bolted on so it draws these cams down, and then I can finish up this chain guide stuff and should have this thing in time. So I'm gonna get that top set over on here and I'll bring you back. Alright, so got it all gasket makered up. Best chance of sealing this thing. Filling all the grooves in except for that one there. That's apparently an oil return for the oil pump. So left it open. But other than that, I got gasket everywhere. Get this thing slapped on and torque it down. Well, I've got the front end all back on, I guess. All the hardware should be tight. All the chains are on. Everything shows to be in time. Only thing I've left it, I gotta put the plastic guide rail on there. I'm gonna do that, and then I guess we'll see if this thing will turn over. Tighten this chain tensioner. But we'll see if we got any clunky clunks or anything hidden. I'll try and get you one last look before I cover this whole beautiful mess up. I've turned the engine back around to where it's close to end time, so I know when I take this off, I should be able to put the pulley back on, because again, the way Audi makes this, the timing stuff will all just fall off the front of the crank. Fabulous design. But other than that, everything's on. It's oiling, it's got oil pressure, turns, spins. So let's seal it up. You should always replace this front cover because you pretty well got to mangle it to get it off, but I just took a hammer and beat it back out. And I'm going to silicone it up and hope it holds. And use this Hylamar silicone, it's good stuff. I figure the last people that worked on this at the Audi dealership, when they put the engine in it at 120,000 miles, which is 50,000 miles ago, about all one of these motors good for. They didn't get it sealed up. It leaked the whole time we've had it. It's leaked down here in this corner, probably because there was oil on it. So I've brake parts cleaned it, wiped it all down. Shouldn't be any oil residue. It's a little heavier dose of silicone than I'd typically use, but we're going with it anyway. Clean up the mount and face of this dampener. Only goes on one way. I gotta be sure I get that in line. And I'll be sure that none of this moves when I take it apart. So keep an eye on it for me. One that's missing is almost straight up and down. So it's right in line with that little hole there in the center. That's it right there. Probably some torque value for that. Let's see if I can go find it and I'll torque it. Hey guys, Brian here. Welcome back to another edition of Well, That Ain't Good. It's fixing to be the last one of these for a while because this junk's going out of here one way or another. I got paying jobs to do and this thing is tying up the space I need. So, time to go. I didn't bore you with putting this front end stuff back on. That's pretty much just the reverse of taking it off. Nothing special about that. The timing was really the only kind of tricky thing that might be helpful to somebody. The rest of it's all just bolting stuff back on. Remembering where all the hardware went. And I've done pretty good, I think, because I'm out of screws except for what holds the front fascia stuff on. I'm not going to put that back on until this thing's either fixed or somebody wants to buy it as is. So, it's time for the moment of truth, I guess. We'll see if this thing will still start and run, or we'll start and run it all now, because it wouldn't when it came in here, because it had no compression. So, we'll hope at least it's better than it was. Fixed? It's not looking like it. Well, this beautiful beast does run, but as you can tell by the thrashing going on under the hood there, it's got a misfire. I hooked up one of those fancy things that has a screen on it and electronics, and it's got wires come out of it, and I hooked it up under the dash thing, and it says that there's a cylinder 4 misfire. I'm thinking there's probably 1 or 2 things that can be going on there. Either it's the most likely thing, and that piston has got broke rings on it. It's blowing by into the crankcase. Or it's possible, I guess, that being that this is a direct injected engine, that the valve damaged the injector on number 4 and it's not fueling. I can't hear it popping out of the intake, so I don't think it's the valves, especially since I lapped them in and they looked okay when I did that. But it's definitely missing. So I guess I'm going to do a compression test, and if the compression shot, then I'll figure the injector is probably okay. If you get it revved up, it kind of smooths out a little. So could again be that it's just leaking down that much. I'm going to take the breather cap off and see if it blows away. It's got vacuum on it, actually. Positive crankcase ventilation. Interesting, I actually would have figured it'd pick up RPMs like that. But let me shut it off and I'll run a compression test. Guess I'll crank it and just listen for a chuff. Did you hear a chuff? I didn't hear a chuff. Ow! Oh, broke rib sucks. Well, I'm gonna admit defeat on this job. You win some, you lose some. Try to hope for the best, and as usual, you got the worst. So, that's it. Pistons and rings were not readily available for this. It didn't appear, seemed like it was a national back order type of thing when I was looking. There may be availability now, I don't know. But, don't know what I'm gonna do with this thing. I'd like to see it go, but at the same time, kind of too far to just scrap it. I hate to lose thousands of dollars just to get rid of it. When it could be fixed. There's always the technology out there to do it. It is running, it's not knocking. So I guess that's a good sign. But 3 cylinders is not the same as 4. You get it revved up enough and makes a little boost, it kind of smooths out. So maybe just need somebody to drive it hard. Doubt I'll find that. So rather than slapping all this front end back on, I'm just gonna throw it in the trunk and pull it out of here and decide in the future maybe what'll happen to it. Curious what you all think I should do with it. Should I make it a project and fix it? Tear it completely down and go through it from top to bottom, put it back together again, or try to sell it as is just got a miss. Who knows what the problem is? I have a good idea what it is, but I don't know that's what it is. Or just put a match to it. Either way, you gotta get rid of the junk. So certainly disappointing. Fought with this thing for over a month because of parts availability. Probably only got 3 days of actual time working on it in it, but still, it's 3 days of time I'll never get back. Could have been doing something else productive. But sometimes when people love their cars, it's what they want. Doesn't look like they're gonna get it though. Not this time. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, I'll catch y'all later. Well, this is the part where I ride it off into the sunset, happily ever after, or maybe I just take it and drive it off a cliff with me in it and end it all. But I'm getting it out of the shop, so that's good.